Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the pond. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. Never get thought of your thought, and don't look at the books. LTL true crime, go. We go get live in the shine, but then I'm not talking, baby, they got so. Look at the place in the world, no can to wait your life. Good now, Jewish alone, we thought of it done. Yeah, we thought of it died, and don't look at the books. I think real true crime, you know what dark realities every time. This is I think real true crime, you know what dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to LTL True Crime. We're live here on Saturday night. It is February 10th, 2024. Almost just said 23. We're way past 23. So welcome in. We have a pretty crazy one to get through tonight. This is probably one of the most cringiest freaking people that I have come across in my entire life. This tonight will set the record for the cringiest person of all time. If I could call Guinness and say, Nicholas Rossi, Nicholas Aliverdian, Nicholas, aka Arthur Knight, this is it. This is the most cringiest person I've ever come across in my existence of living on this earth. Tonight, we will settle that. And I hope Guinness is watching this, because maybe we can set a record tonight or something. But this guy is absolute cringe and a disgusting human being, but we will get into that. Listen, I know I'm getting a lot of requests for people asking me if I'm going to cover the Montgomery case, and I don't feel comfortable doing that case. I think everything that needs to be said can be said in that courtroom. I am not going to go through that testimony. No way in hell. I'm just trying not to swear. I'm still early in the stream. No way am I getting into that. That's way too deep. I've been watching some of the trial footage over the last couple of days, and nope, don't need to get into that one. Don't need to get into that. That's too heavy for me, too heavy for this channel. And I know some channels out there that are not even touching that case. I think everything that needs to be said can be said on court TV during that testimony, and let it speak for itself. So it's just too deep. I can't get into that one's. Nope. No thanks. Not doing that. Not going over it. Don't need to relive that. Don't need to talk about it. Don't need to hear it again. If I hear it once, I'm good. I'm all set with that. So I know a lot of people have asked me about that, and I have no interest in getting into that. case at all. I think it's pretty self-explanatory as what happened. I don't need to relive it here on LTL. Um, it's awful. I was talking to a friend yesterday about it. We were discussing the case, and don't need to relive it. Don't need to relive that. But we're going to get into Nicholas Rossi tonight, aka Arthur Knight. This should be a good one. It should be interesting. I'm telling you, if you have not seen this disgusting human being, you're going to get it in full-fledged tonight. All right, let's pull up Wiki here. We got a Wiki on this guy. So they have him listed as Nicholas Alaverdian, and that was because he's pretty well known here in Providence, Rhode Island. And we'll read a little bit of the Wiki here, and then we'll start getting in some. I want you all to see this guy on video, this human piece of garbage. And I don't even know if I can call him human, but we'll get into some video tonight too. So his big claim to fame is that he has been framed, and he is not Nicholas Alaverdian or Nicholas Rossi. You know, I think by the media now they're calling him Nicholas Rossi. And when he faked his own death, said that he had cancer because he was going to be brought up on a sexual assault and a rape charge. And he escaped over to Scotland and changed his identity. He met a woman from England and married her. And it's a full cringe story. We will get into this. But he has now recently been extradited back to the United States and continues to say that he is not Nicholas Rossi, not Nicholas Alaverdian. He is Arthur Knight. And wait till we get into this one. So here we go. Nicholas Alaverdian, or Nicholas Rossi, July 11th, 1987, among other aliases, he had many, many aliases, is an American sex offender who faked his own death in 2020. Alaverdian alleged that he suffered abuse and negligence in the Department of Children, Youth, and Family, DCYF for short, of Rhode Island Social Service System. In support of this allegation, he unsuccessfully sued the DCYF in federal court in 2011 and voluntarily dismissed the lawsuit when Rhode Island waived his medical expenses debt at around $200,000. In January of 2020, hang on one second, I'm just going to clear my throat here. Okay. In January 2020, Alaverdian said that he had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In February 2020, news outlets reported that Alaverdian's death, citing his family anonymously testimony and his obituary. The reports of his death were disputed as they occurred after the FBI initiated a fraud investigation against him, while Rhode Island police had issued a warrant for him to failure to register as a sex offender. In October 2021, he was identified in a hospital in Scotland while undergoing a treatment for COVID. He was arrested that December on charges of alleged rape in Utah in 2008, and for which a sealed arrest warrant had been issued in September of 2020, and with other alleged crimes. In November 2022, Edinburgh Sheriff Court confirmed that the arrested man was Nicholas Rossi, despite his claims of mistaken identity. In August 2023, a sheriff ruled that he could be extradited to the United States. This was confirmed by the Justice Secretary, Angela Constance, in October of 2023, and he was extradited on the 5th of January 2024. I don't want to waste too much time. I need you all to see video of this clown. Ultimate clown, the biggest, cringiest person I've ever seen in my entire life. What I'll do here is give you a little bit of a snippet on the case, and then we'll get into some full-fledged interviews with this guy, and you will not believe what you are seeing. But this is about a 3-minute video. This was back last year in April of 2022, WPRI here in Providence, and this is about a 4-minute spit on that. Let's watch this. This will kind of get you caught up, and then we'll see some very cringy interviews. Here we go.
The man prosecutors believe is a con man with
That is
ties
the
to Rhode
biggest
Island is set to
fucking
appear
cringe.
in a Scotland courtroom this week. Authorities say the man, known under multiple aliases, including Nicholas Alaverdian and Nicholas Rossi, raped a woman in 2008 and then faked his own death in 2020.
Now, investigators say they have found him alive, thousands of miles away, pretending to be someone else. But that man, who claims to have serious medical issues, says they've got the wrong guy. I spoke with him via Zoom from his home in Scotland.
Wearing an oxygen mask and speaking with an accent.
It's already starting. I mean, this guy deserves a fucking Oscar. I'm kidding. Wait till you see this. And then he keeps going, I am not Nicholas Rossi. I am Arthur Knight.
Arthur Knight.
The man who says he was born Nicholas Brown in Ireland in November 1986 has no proof of that story. He blames it on Irish law and lack of access to his birth certificate or records from early life. But prosecutors in the U.S. say they have compelling evidence that the man who now calls himself Arthur Knight is in fact Nicholas Rossi, also known as Nicholas Alaverdian, or a slew of other aliases, a man now wanted for an alleged rape in 2008. Knight denies that he is Alaverdian and says he's never even been to the United States.
Because I have similarities to the person in life and in youth. That doesn't necessarily mean that I am that person.
Knight tells me he changed his name after he married his wife Miranda in 2020. It was the same year that a Rhode Island man named Nicholas Alaverdian reportedly died of cancer. Alaverdian was an outspoken critic of DCYF and often found himself being quoted in the local media. His name was back in
this guy's glad-handed with a lot of politicians. Like, there's photos of him out there with politicians. I just recently saw like a photo of him and Mike Pence together. It's on the wiki page, but this guy's, I think he actually used to speak in Rhode Island to like Congress too.
Headlines last year when Utah County Attorney David Levitt said Alaverdian wasn't dead, but instead was living a new life under a new identity in Scotland. Levitt says Alaverdian was identified through DNA and fingerprints. Both
and how they have DNA in. They have DNA in fingerprints on him, and how this woman can sit beside him and believe, or she's just in on it. And I don't know what kind of money he has. Maybe he's paying her. I don't know, but it's just, this is the cringiest thing.
Were taken while Knight was hospitalized with COVID-19.
He doesn't have a sample.
Doesn't have the sample.
He has no sample.
No sample.
None at all.
I believe in some of the emails that you had sent me, you said that they weren't authorized to take your DNA, but now you're saying that they don't have your DNA. 14. I just want to be super clear. Do they have DNA samples from you?
Dina, thank you so much for the $4.99. She says, thanks for everything you do, Brian. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for being a moderator. I appreciate it. I understand you can't make every live. I don't expect you to make every live, but it's awesome to see that your comments are always there on the replays, and I appreciate that. I'm going to tell you one thing. This is just came into my head. If I have to hear one more thing about Taylor Swift, I swear to God, my mind is going to blow through my head. I'm so, like, believe me, I like Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie. I think she's great. Her music, whatever. I am so sick of hearing her. We're going to hear about her every single moment of that Super Bowl tomorrow. Oh, my God. I'm so sick of hearing about Taylor Swift.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Knight went on to argue that the DNA samples Levitt is using from cases in Utah and Ohio don't actually exist. And then there are the tattoos, which nurses at a Scotland hospital reportedly used to identify Knight as Alaverdian, who was previously photographed with body art on both arms. Knight would not roll up his sleeves for a BBC crew.
I'm just exhausted.
But in our conversation, his arms were bare.
I'm not seeing any tattoos on your arms.
There's nothing there.
As for the woman by Knight's side, she says she is his wife, Miranda, saying they first met in 2011, but struck up a romantic relationship 5 years ago and wed in 2020. She now keeps a watchful eye over her ailing spouse, who is confident that he will be exonerated.
When I am released and my innocence is proven, I will be in Rhode Island one day and celebrating with everyone there to meet you all, because I may not be Nicholas Rossi, but I'm Arthur Knight, and he'll certainly have a grand time with my wife and I.
And a spokesperson for the Scottish courts and tribunals tells us Knight is due to appear for a preliminary hearing there tomorrow.
This guy. All right, I'm going to put a poll at the top here. I want everybody to interact. Okay, let's see. All right, do you believe this is a mistaken identity? Do you believe it's a mistaken identity? Let me know at the top. Let me know at the top. All right, we're going to hear a little bit from Arthur Knight. This is the cringy. All right, this is back from February 28th, 2022. So almost 2 years ago.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello, Brian. Hi.
Miranda, how are you? Arthur, how are you? Thanks for doing it. So I hit record, so we are recording. I think the biggest thing I just want to ask you is, who are you? Everybody here seems to think you're Nicholas Alaverdian.
Brian, Arthur's just indicated to me he would quite like to be off the record to begin with. Just for a few minutes, before the interview starts.
I'll pause the recording. So as I said, just tell me, who are you? Because most people here believe you're Nicholas Alaverdian.
This is my wife, Miranda.
So why do you think you've been confused with Mr. Alaverdian?
That's an interesting question, and the answer is easy. Because there is a shortage in Utah prosecutions, as you can see from this article from NBC affiliate KSM in Salt Lake City, and they have what's called the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative, and they claim to have tested the kit in 2008.
The mask is not even plugged in.
That kit was allegedly not proved to be the alleged perpetrator until 2017, and charges were not brought until 2020. We learned that the original case was closed by the lead detective, which is
yeah, he claims he's Irish. He's in Scotland, but speaks with the worst fake English accent.
More than average. That happens in
yeah, this is great.
70% of cases from Utah, but apparently, because
so he's saying that he has complications from COVID. This is all COVID thing.
Someone had come across a photograph of someone who was claimed to be involved. And this was not on any government website or website sanctioned by Interpol. They claimed to have contacted Utah authorities, who subsequently contacted Interpol, who then contacted our government in my country, in the United Kingdom. And
United Kingdom.
It gave this man called David Levitt, whose brother is the former governor of Utah and twice served as a cabinet member in Utah. executing the presidency for both Presidents Bush, I believe, and as a member of one of the most powerful families in Utah.
I'm not going to play this whole interview because I want to get into actually like how this all unraveled. STV News did like a nice 23-minute spot on this guy, and you'll be able to hear him a lot clearer. I just wanted to play like a little bit more. I'll play about 5 more minutes of this, and then we'll get over to the actual kind of like little mini docu they did on this guy. And I have plenty other clips lined up. So let's listen a little bit more, but then we'll get into that little mini docu.
But what is his interest in freedom, I guess? What's his interest in getting it wrong to say you're Nicholas Aliverdi or Nicholas Rossi?
Because they believe that based on they went from DNA to tattoos to scars, and you could see in the news coverage how it's gone from he was identified by DNA to he was identified by tattoos to he was identified by scars, and it's not true. It's simply not true.
It's just not true.
Will you show me your arm where they say the tattoo is?
Absolutely. What I will show you first is that.
I can't, like, do you think that this woman believes this guy, or is she just going along with it? Do you really think that she's believing it? All right, so I looked at the poll, we got 53 votes. I asked, do you believe this is a mistaken identity? 2% said yes, and 98% said no. So far. Let's see. Casey, thank you so much for the 5 on Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. All right, let's keep going. No, I have to take a look at them, Patty. I will.
Which is the integral red notice. You can see it has a man's arm fully tattooed. Okay. I will show you.
It's going to show his tattoos. Or his non-tattoos. Probably had them all removed.
Is that all?
Yeah, I know it's hard with the jacket, but it was up further, right?
No.
Oh my God.
God.
Shittiest Bond villain ever. That's a good one. This is so cringy. This is the cringiest thing, bro. Oh my God. Look at this woman just sitting next to him like she hasn't moved.
Well, it's hard to see here, but I know you're wearing a jacket and a shirt, but obviously, isn't it farther up?
I think Arthur's trying to show you. Shall I show?
What the fuck? He's like, oh.
When my husband's been in true comas, he doesn't have the flexibility to move around as much because he's obviously in a wheelchair, an electric wheelchair, so he can't actually get up. He can't wait there. So what he's trying to show is that there's a photograph which actually shows that the person has a full sleeve. So it's a full sleeve, which obviously means
a full sleeve tattoo.
So
like, yeah, fuck off.
And nothing on the other arm?
Totally hypnotized.
Okay. And have you had any tattoos removed?
No. I'm off at night.
I know this, right? I know you're wearing an oxygen mask. Is that because you had COVID? Or is that from air?
I only have 25% of the lung
So my husband he contracted COVID in September, and he had a prolonged stay in hospital of over 3 months. So he actually went through 3 different comas. So as a wife, to actually have a husband go through 1 coma is enough, but to have a husband go through 3 comas over 3 months, with consultants saying to me that he has a 5% chance of survival. It has been an absolute traumatic 3 months. And what you're seeing is the after effects of COVID. So for a lot of people, they get COVID and it's just a flu. But for some individuals, and even though Arthur's in his 30s, which is extremely young, the amount of capacity that he has in his lungs after COVID is about 25%. He's left with scarring throughout his lungs, and he's on oxygen, and this is 24/7. So he can't breathe enough without oxygen. So this is when he wears all.
5 liters per minute. 5 liters per minute.
What was that?
5 liters per minute.
5 liters per minute. So it's the amount of oxygen that he's receiving from the compressor.
I think he's high on the oxygen. All right, let's get 2 more of this, and then I'll go over to like the little mini docu about this guy. We'll get some clearer clips so you can hear this guy actually talk.
So
unreal.
I was gonna say, if you're trying to show that you're not Nicholas Alaverdian, for 5 seconds, can you pull the mask down or no?
No, I cannot.
I mean, I would say just a couple of seconds, because obviously he needs it.
Okay. I just want to be clear. So you are not Nicholas Alaverdian. What do you say to people who think you are Nicholas Alaverdian, a Rhode Islander who faked his own death to flee prosecution?
They're reading the bloody red dots.
I'm sorry, what was that?
They're reading the red dots.
So Arthur is saying they are reading the red tops, as in the newspapers, the red tops newspapers, tabloids.
Have you ever been to Rhode Island?
I've never been to the United States in the whole of my entire life.
Okay.
It's like, all right.
You mentioned the documents that you gave us, and you're concerned about the documents, but you said those were confidential and sealed, but that's somebody else's case. How do you have the documents to Nicholas Alaverdian if you're not him?
Yeah. Which documents?
You said the ones you sent me, that you then said you thought should not be on the website because they were from his case, the second offender case, and that they were sealed. So why do you have his documents, and why do you care so much about his documents if you're not him?
Yeah, I was referring to emails.
He's talking.
He's referring to the emails.
Yeah, so Ron, he's back. He's in the States now, but he's been still pulling this fake crap. He's in Utah, but he's now continuing to pull this mistaken identity crap. So let's do this. Let's bounce out from this interview. I'm going to play the little mini docu. Maybe we go back and end this towards the end of the stream. I really want everybody to get a feel for this guy and hear some like clear audio of him. It's the cringiest person I've ever seen in my entire life. Absolutely the most cringiest person. All right, here we go. There's a little mini docu. This is from STV News, and what an incredible story. Here we go.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Arthur Knight, and this is my wife, Miranda Knight.
Are you Nicholas Rossi?
No.
Are you Nicholas Alaverdian?
Absolutely not.
Are you Nicholas Brown?
Yes.
Police say this man.
And he said to me, he goes, see this file right here? He had a file on Nick.
What happened? Let me go back. Sorry about that. I jumped.
Who are you?
Hi, I'm Arthur Knight, and this is my wife, Miranda Knight.
Are you Nicholas Rossi?
No.
Are you Nicholas Alaverdian?
Absolutely not.
Are you Nicholas Brown?
Yes.
Yes.
Police say this man has lived his life under at least 16 different names. They believe he fled from America to the UK to avoid rape charges in Utah. Then in 2020, They were told he was dead.
Bro, that's
Just
him.
under a year ago, police
Look at that fucking
believed
guy.
they had found the fugitive in Scotland.
Pulled it over on a lot of people, but he got fooled.
Did the family believe Nicholas had died?
No, he's not dead. He loves life too much.
People who knew Mr. Rossi, Nicholas Alaverdian, claim that it's you.
DNA doesn't lie.
I know my husband does not have tendencies as a rapist.
He's a con artist, is what he is. I call him a jellyfish. Because a jellyfish, you can't pick it up. There's no spine to it, but it has long tentacles and it can sting you.
Is he capable of doing it? Anybody's capable of doing anything if they want to.
I'd be very happy though, just to see him remain behind bars.
These are very serious charges that this man faces. They claim this man faked his own death to evade those charges. Did you fake your own death?
Sharon, we're sitting having a conversation. I've never been dead to anyone.
Bro.
It's a story that began with an arrest in a Glasgow hospital, and it continues to attract international headlines.
Real quick, I want to thank everybody for being here on this Saturday night. I hope you're enjoying the stream. You know, I thought this was a case we definitely had to get into, knowing that it's so close to Providence, Rhode Island. It's definitely something worth getting to, and I want to continue to dig into this because this is one of the cringiest fucking people I've ever come across, and he's probably going to end up holding the Guinness World of Records for the most cringiest fucking person. And this animal deserves to be behind bars. Just do me a favor, smash that like button. Let's try to get this up to 100 likes tonight on the stream. I'm at about 88 right now. We'd like to get to 100. So we can get the stream out into the algorithm. All right, here we go. Providence, Rhode Island.
Island is more than 3,000 miles away from where the individual at the centre of this case was arrested. It's here many believe they've always known the true identity of the man behind the mask.
They're all the same person.
This is Cranston, a small town near the capital of Rhode Island, where Nicholas Alaverdian spent most of his childhood. He lived with his mother and stepfather, David Rossi. The singer, who was an Engelbert Humperdinck impersonator, adopted him when he was 8.
There's Nicholas.
Nicholas took his stepfather's surname, but the pair's relationship was nothing short of turbulent and at times violent.
As a child, from day one, when I adopted him and his brother and sister, they weren't no boggles either. He was trouble. Hit his mother, hit his grandmothers, steal from the other two, trouble going to school, want to run everything, always want to be in control. He just wanted everything his way. He was the devil's spawn. I took a lot on. 3 kids, her. I took on what no man would, I believe. But I did it. I loved them. I loved her.
When Nicholas was around 13,
he got that face though, huh? He's got that face you cannot forget. That face stayed with him through his whole life. You know, a lot of people like their face changes as they get older, you know, but this face is so recognizable. Look at that face. He's 13 here and he still has that face.
Moved into foster care, run by the Department of Children, Youth and Families. He lived at various group homes where troubled teenagers are placed under one roof. It was at this time Nicholas got his first job at Rhode Island State House. He worked with politicians, helping them with paperwork and other administrative duties.
The most common word used by those who knew Nicholas Alaverdian during his time here at the State House was persistent. They say he was a man who refused to take no for an answer.
All right, Nikki, it's exactly the same.
Hi, Brian.
How are you?
Nice to finally meet you.
Pleasure.
Former State Representative Brian Coogan took Nicholas under his wing. He initially thought the teenager was a genuine hard worker who had an unusually keen interest in the law for someone so young.
He kept asking me to adopt him because he didn't have any family and he was in a group home and a foster home and he was going to live on this very street, a couple houses down.
Why didn't you adopt him?
He called me up one day He said, Rep, you got to come down to court. You got to come down to court. They're trying to get rid of me. So I get down to the courthouse, and as soon as I walk up, he grabs me, hugs me, and embraces me like I was the only thing he had in this world.
James. Appreciate it.
I said, Nick, whoa, what's going on? He says, they're trying to get rid of me. You got to help me. And I went in with the judge, and he said to me, he goes, see this file right here? He had a file on Nick. So all the times that he was telling you and the other reps up the state house that he was being abused, cuts and bruises, those were all self-inflicted. He goes, I can't let you adopt him.
Brian decided not to adopt Nicholas, even though the teenager claimed everything the judge said was a lie. Nicholas stayed in foster care and lived in Florida until he was 18. When he returned to Rhode Island, he took his claims of abuse to the next level.
This is where Nicholas Alaverdian returns in his 20s to walk the halls of power in an attempt to gain support for his campaign to improve the children's welfare system.
And I was subjected to torture, beatings, assault in various forms.
Bro,
I was refused to
just add like 100 pounds to that dude, and that is him. I mean, that face is so recognizable.
Contact anybody at all.
It was at this time he met Representative Ray Hull. Together they worked on legislation to improve the lives of children in care.
Was Nicholas Alaverdian one of those kids who fell through the cracks?
Yes, absolutely. Or why would he be advocating so much to make the change if he wasn't one of them that fell through the cracks? He was a young individual with some tenacity that wanted to change the world, and you could really like.
This is good. Charlene says his COVID side effects is called liabetes. I like that one, and thank you for the 5. That's a good one. Oh, I love it.
Latch on to him.
Yes,
thinking, wow, here is a young fella coming to us, our committee, and explaining why he needs changes in DCYF. He knows it because he lives it.
Around the same time, Nicholas was openly advocating against abuse. He had sexually assaulted a young woman in Ohio in 2008.
So we met at the campus cafeteria. He said, do you mind if I walk you to your class? So when me and him were walking into the basement, he starts attacking me, trying to kiss me rough against my face. He had his hands up my shirt, down my pants. And at that point, I ran up to my class and I was like, this is, I think, just the safest place for me to go right now. And then I come out and he's waiting for me. And I'm so sorry. I got caught up. I'm so sorry. I couldn't resist. You were just so pretty, and just giving me the whole line. And then I go and I report what happened to the police.
This happened in January 2008, and he was then sentenced in May of that year.
He gets sentenced. The judge does find him guilty in my case. He had to register as a sex offender every year for 15 years. And that part was hard for me because I was like, well, what if I'm ruining his life? But at the same time, I was like, if someone could have spoke up and prevented what happened to me, would I have wanted them to? Yeah, I was like, let's end the cycle here. Let's get it documented, because I don't know why, but it felt very orchestrated and rehearsed.
Nicholas was initially wanted by US authorities over one charge of rape in Utah, dating back to 2008. He has now been served with 2 more extradition requests from his state, one relating to the rape of a woman in Salt Lake City and another for a sexual assault in the city of Orem. Investigations have also been carried out into various counts of fraud. He's been married several times. One in Ohio lasted just 7 months. Brian claims Nicholas's second wife never knew about her husband's criminal record.
Well, I mean, look, we know, we know about the laws now in a lot of these states. These people are, this human garbage is allowed to wander, and I probably have some of my Karen Reed followers in here tonight. And, I always say this, here's a perfect example. You have Aidan Carney, a journalist that is outspoken about a certain case that's going on here in Massachusetts. If you're not familiar, the Karen Reed case, she was definitely framed. I got my limited edition shirt on that will not ever be produced again, but we got new ones up on the store. But anyway, I just want to get to the point. This is someone that's outspoken and has been jailed because he has spoken up against this case. But yet I'll take another example. You look in New York City the other day, migrants attack police officers, beat them to the ground. They just fully released the body cam footage of that situation. And these people were allowed to walk free. They literally walked into court with no handcuffs on and walked out of court, was given court dates, and here they are. They jump on a bus to go to California. Thankfully, I believe they've all been recaught again. But this is the thing. This is what we deal with in our society. And people like this continue to pass through the system and pass through the system and pass through these predators. Guy's a predator. The guy is a predator. Clearly a liar, a predator, a faker. And these are the people that are allowed to be out in our society. But the people that just speak up and say words, those are the people that get thrown in jail. It's unbelievable.
She told him she was abused from day one.
He called me up one day and he says, Rep, I want to take you to dinner. I got married. I said, again? I mean, because he was supposed to be married like 3 or 4 times. He said, I want you to meet my wife, Catherine. We met at a restaurant in downtown Providence, a fancy restaurant called Fleming's. And talking to his wife, very lovely girl, pure as snow, salt of the earth, very religious. So we parted ways, and then they went back to Dayton, Ohio. She called me up a couple of weeks after that, and she was horrified into the phone. Nick was locking her in the bathroom. He stole her identity. He got credit cards in her name.
Laura. Absolutely.
And she was just on the horrors. I said, Catherine, I said, you call the police? She goes, I call the police. I'm going to get away from him.
Well, what was your reaction when you got that phone call?
Literally brought into I'm going to go back to this. Literally brought to court in shackles. He has never assaulted anybody. He's never hurt anybody. And literally brought to court in shackles. They shackle him like a murderer. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Horrified. I couldn't believe it. I started Googling Nick's name.
They have DNA.
They used all his aliases.
They have confirmed this guy with DNA. Have confirmed him with DNA.
Found him. He's a registered sex offender. He's suing people. People are suing him. He's got all sorts of court cases going on. Nick's a weird kid. I said I would help him out with some money. You need to get an apartment. And Nick had called me. He goes, oh, can you help me out? Can you help me out? And I said, yeah, Nick, I'll help you out. And I just decided not to. Why should I, I've given him money before. I loaned him money. Never paid me back. He says, you said you would. I said, no, I didn't. So we went right to his phone. He went to my folder. He went to the date and he played it back for me. How crazy is that? So I said, Nick, what is that? He goes, I record every phone conversation and I file them. I put them in a file. It's a dangerous kid.
It's believed around 2017, Nicholas left the United States and travelled to Europe. Ray hadn't spoken to Nick in some time and then received a phone call from him to say he was unwell. At this stage, the state representative said he had no idea that the man he was speaking to was a registered sex offender facing further allegations.
I get a phone call once or twice. I'm in Russia now. I have a sickness and he's going to be treated. And so that goes on. And then I get another call, I'm dying. I said, Joel, you can beat this. You'll be fine. His voice was scratchy. It's all coming back to me now. He was labored. I felt kind of sorry for the guy, and I encouraged him. I said, I'll pray for you. This is not the end. There were many other people who come through this, and keep your chin up. You'll be fine.
Police agencies were tracking Nicholas and had asked those closest to him to try and flush him out.
Next thing you know, I have the U.S. Marshals coming to my house. I had the FBI from Ohio call me. I had the FBI from Providence, Rhode Island call me. And they're all looking for him.
Was Nicholas Alaverdian still alive?
Yes, he was still alive. And he was calling me every now and then. And when he called me, I said, Nick, you got everybody looking for you. You got serious charges. He was calm and cool on the phone, talk like a lawyer. Oh, it's all a big misunderstanding. And you almost want to believe him.
Where was he? Where did he say he was?
I asked him where he was at. He says, I'm in another country. I'm nowhere around. They're never going to find me. He says, I'm married with 2 kids now. I said, married with 2 kids? I said, what'd you do? Add water? Was it like oatmeal? The very last time I talked to him, he called me and goes, Rep. I said, Nick, what's the matter with your voice? I'm dying. I'm in a hospital bed. I'm dying. I said, what's wrong with you? He goes, I got 2 weeks to live. I said, what's wrong with you? He says, I have lymphoma. I have cancer. I have this. I said, really? I said, listen, you cockroach. I said, cockroaches don't die. I said, you're not dying. I said, you're a sexual predator and you're trying to escape and you're faking your death. You are not dying. He goes, stop talking to me like that. I want to have peace with you. I'm on my deathbed. I said, and I was swearing at it. I was like foaming at the mouth. I said, you're a liar. I said, you're in a lot of trouble. They're going to get you.
Anybody right there that fakes cancer is exactly what this guy just said. Exactly what he said. Is just a cockroach. Anybody that fakes cancer is just a cockroach.
You can't hide from the
Absolute
law.
Cockroach.
I said, you know the old saying, the long arm of the law. They're going to get you, Nick.
Live and local news and information on WPRO, Providence, a Cumulus station.
Sad news to pass along. The voice you've heard on the air here on WPRO. Nicholas Aliverdian, he has passed away from a long battle with cancer, leaving his wife and 2 children. Nicholas Aliverdian was 32.
His passing is a very, very sad incident for us, and may you rest in peace, Nicholas.
Next thing I hear a call from his wife, which I didn't know he was married. She's asking me to present the official proclamation of the passing of Nicholas Aliverdian as a memorial from the State House official.
Which you did?
Of course.
How do you feel about that now?
Well, from what I know now to what I knew then, I feel kind of, disappointed, but I would still do it again for the person that I knew who died or passed away. I would still do it, not thinking that he might have set this up himself.
Thank you, Mom.
Attempts were made to hold a memorial service at 2 separate churches. The priest here was told to cancel the mass by police. Officers believe that Nicholas Aliverdian may have been vain enough to attempt to attend the service himself to hear the tributes being paid.
So he's extradited back to the United States right now. He's in a Utah jail. And they're going through this whole identity crisis, this thing that he's playing. I'm going to play one of his hearings at the end of the stream. We're going to kind of take you through a timeline of all that. That's what we're doing here.
What did you think when you saw that obituary?
I was furious. I said, this kid is a con artist, is what he is.
The obituary did raise a few eyebrows in Rhode Island, and suspicion quickly spread. I visited the pub where Nick gains a reputation for his gift of the gab and drinking ability. The achievement of downing 300 pints is celebrated on the walls of the Wickeden.
They had a nickname for him here.
That's right. They called him 3 Questions Nick, because Nick would just pepper them with questions. And then they had a house rule that he was only allowed 3 questions or they would cut him off. So he was known as 3 Questions Nick.
Nicholas Aliverdian, according to everyone, died.
Yes.
Did you believe that Nick
No,
died?
especially the crew here, they smelled a rat almost immediately.
Didn't I tell you when the obituary came out? Wasn't I the first to say
Yes,
it?
you were.
What did you say?
Nick's not dead. Nick wrote his own obituary.
I was more credulous because I was contacted by his family to speak at his memorial, and his supposed wife called me from Europe. The last time I spoke to Nick, he said he was living in Western Ireland. So I said to this woman, well, how are you doing in Western Ireland? She said, what are you talking about? I live in Geneva. I went, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly,
But, she said, Nick wanted you at his service because he loved what you wrote about him. And I thought,
exactly, Brenda.
What did I write about him? I've never written anything about him. And so she read me this very full quote of fulsome praise for him. And I said, I didn't write that. She said, oh, well, no, Nick.
Bro, look at his face. That's so him. That is so him.
Cherished it.
Do you doubt it all, everything, or do you think?
I doubt everything. I doubt everything. I have no idea. I don't know him. I thought I knew him, but I don't, and I certainly doubt every aspect of his biography that he told me.
Over in the UK, a man calling himself Nicholas Brown married a woman called Miranda Knight on February 22nd, 2020, a week before the date of death stated on Nicholas Alaverdian's obituary. This man began working for a Canadian woman who's expanding her business across the pond, but things quickly turned sour. She now believes the person she employed was Nicholas Alaverdian.
I knew him as Nicholas Brown. In January 2020 is when we started. And by the end of the month, I was not very happy. He seemed passionate. He seemed like he was determined. But then one day I just had enough and I texted him because I didn't want to tell him verbally on the phone because he was very aggressive sometimes. And then that's when he started to show me his smear campaign that he prepared. I lost a lot of money, not just the 40 grand, but hundreds of thousands because I had to do damage control. I don't think I'm going to ever see that money. Like I spoke to criminal lawyers over here and they're like, don't even bother. He cons somebody and uses that money to con the next person. I'd be very happy though, just to see him remain behind bars.
Reports have emerged of claims of fraud. In particular,
I
a
have
newspaper report
to do
from a
with
Canadian
fraud.
businesswoman.
Yes, a Canadian business. I worked with that Canadian businesswoman, and I would love to show you how I worked for her day and night, irrespective of time zone, and even enlisted my wife to help me work with her because she was so demanding.
Why is he talking like this? What the Oh my God.
Early 2022, and a man claiming to be Arthur Knight was taken into custody after fears he posed a flight risk. Just weeks earlier, he had been arrested while being treated for COVID in a Glasgow hospital,
God, look at
as the
that.
American authorities believed he was Nicholas Alaverdian. Since news of his arrest, more women have spoken about their
Watch the mask. Your mask fell off. Watch. He pulls it back on.
He's believed he was Nicholas Alaverdian. Since news of his arrest, more women have spoken about their experiences of Nicholas's behaviour.
Caught in Scotland last month. A man who made a name for himself in Rhode Island before we were told he died 2 years ago.
This is movie stuff.
Despite making international headlines following repeated court appearances, this accused man didn't shy away.
Look at like the over-the-top oxygen tank too. Who the fuck carries that around like that? Over-the-top oxygen tank. Like every little oxygen tank I've ever seen has been like small, or it's been like an actual machine. It's like a fucking diver's tank. This dude's walking around with like scuba gear.
Away from the spotlight and was keeping a keen eye on how events were being reported in Rhode Island.
We were going to run this story, who he was and kind of his background here and how things got to where they were. And we interviewed people who had known him. And the day before the story was going to run, Arthur Knight called our newsroom looking to talk to the boss and basically talked to my boss on the phone for about an hour. I did an interview with him and his wife, and that was kind of the first one, and it snowballed from there. And then he would keep calling and trying to say, you should look into this and you should look into that, and things about the prosecutor in Utah. But it just struck me as, why would somebody who claims they're not the person from Rhode Island care so much about what the news is reporting in Rhode Island? Except these are the news media outlets that he would have grown up watching and listening to and reading.
Right.
Is the game up for you?
Oh, bro.
Even in Scotland's Arthur Knight was pushing his plea, claiming he was an Irish orphan who had changed his first name due to childhood trauma. He said he took his wife's surname when they married. The couple invited me into their Glasgow home and insisted Arthur was still suffering from long COVID and that this was all a case of mistaken identity.
The truth needs to be known. So why am I speaking to you? Why is my wife speaking to you? Because we care about our life and our love.
This has all happened the dates before you knew him.
This Nicholas Rossi when you actually read about what he's done, he seems to have done it consistently.
You think like the minute the fucking news cameras leave, he just stands up and he's like, haha, we got him. You know what I mean? Like he just goes back into like his regular self and just starts talking with his American voice. He's like, ha ha ha. He fucking stands up. Oh my God, this is the cringiest person I've ever seen in my entire life.
Through his life. So why is it literally going to stop when he meets me? I know my husband. He would never put me at risk. He would never hurt me, abuse me, do anything like what I read about this Nicholas Rossi.
There is no evidence whatsoever that there are tattoos, and I've shown that to news reporter after news reporter after news reporter.
Intensive care staff from the Glasgow hospital where he was arrested told the extradition hearing about seeing distinctive arm tattoos on their patient while they treated him for COVID. These appeared similar to the images held by Interpol. During his evidence in court this week, the man himself claimed he had gone into hospital without any markings and had been tattooed while in a coma for 18 days.
That's the crest of Brown University, yep, with the red and you got the black right there.
A tattoo artist from Nicholas's hometown says his distinct ink could have been removed over time, but markings may still be visible.
That top one would be a little tough because it does look like there's some scar tissue that would be going on with the books that are open, and then of course with the red.
And can you treat the scarring?
You probably could. You have to probably go to a dermatologist for that to see. Again, depends on how deep it is too.
I'm assuming all this removal is very expensive.
Oh yeah, yeah. It can be very expensive. So that's why I tell people, you're going to get tattooed, make sure it's what you want, because it hurts a lot more and it's a lot more expensive to remove it. So, you know.
Yeah, I have friends that literally have tattoos and they've had them removed, and they say the removal process is like worse than actually getting a tattoo. Like it's really bad. It hurts as hell, like hell.
It's now official. Arthur Knight is Nicholas Rossi, aka Nicholas Alaverdian. It's a court decision those in Rhode Island suspected all along, but it hasn't erased their pain of being lied to by a man they thought they knew.
See that mask and wheelchair? That's bull. That's bull. There's nothing wrong with him. He's faking for sympathy, trying to get off.
From what I'm hearing now and all the stuff that's coming out, my head spins sometimes. It's like, wow. Wow. It's on him now to come forward. It's on him to say, hey, I did this.
Is Arthur Knight Nicholas Rossi? Nicholas Alaverdian, as you know?
I would bet my life on it that that's Nicholas Alaverdian. Nick's getting all this publicity, but it is about the women.
It's so interesting because it's just like the little lies then are just these grand lies now that he uses as like a building block of who he is and how he's important.
If you could say anything to him, what would you say?
Smarten up. You're still young. Do the right thing. You know, you hurt a lot of people. End it. Do your time. End it.
Dude, that's him, bro. That's so him. Good little report. All right, let's move on here. This is great. This is from the Scotland Sun. They did an interview with the Scotland Sun. Unfortunately, I can't find the full. I might be able to find the full one. Hang on. Oh, let's see. Is there a full interview? Let's see. Let's see. I don't think we have the full interview. Let's see. Let's try this one. Oh, we're going to get a couple of interviews. Hang on. Check this one out first. All right. So we got, oh God, this guy is so cringy. Let's go to this one first. Check this out. This is the best one. Ready? Watch this. This is the best one.
We were once a normal family, but thanks to the media, our lives
He goes to
have
get
been
up and he's like,
interrupted. And we'd like privacy, and I would like to go back to being a normal husband. But I can't because I can't breathe. I can't walk. People say that's an act. Let me try to stand up. Let me try to stand up. Exactly. Exactly.
What do you say to someone who believes that you are Nicholas Alaverdian?
I am not Andrea. I am not Nicholas Alaverdi, and I do not know how to make this clearer.
What do you say to people who say these are crocodile tears? He's putting on a show. This is all an act.
Oh,
You are fake
Andrea,
news.
No,
that's a low blow. That's a right low blow.
I gotta go back and watch him try to get
Nicholas,
up again.
Let me try to stand up. Let me try to stand up. Exactly. Exactly.
What do you say to someone who believes that you are Nicholas Alaverdian?
I am not Andrea. I am not Nicholas Alaverdi, and I do not know how to make this clearer.
What do you say to people who say these are crocodile tears? He's putting on a show. This is all an act.
Oh,
Andrea,
no,
that's a low blow. That's a right low blow.
Oh, Jesus. All right, let's go to this one here. A little bit more in the wheelchair. Here we go. Loses his oxygen bottle. Oh, Jesus. Let me turn this up. Look at the fucking bottle. It's like a scuba gear. It's like a scuba gear bottle. You gotta be kidding me. So how is he breathing right now? Look at it. Can't get up on the curb. He's in the B-side. Look at the fucking scuba, dude. That's a scuba bottle. Dude, bro, you know when he got that oxygen bottle, he's like, we need to get the most over-the-top oxygen, like make it the biggest fucking bottle that you can carry. Because he wants to be so over the top with this. You know he said that. They look like welding rigs. It looks like a welding bottle. Yeah, Johnny Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville should play him in a movie. There's a movie that comes out. So cringy. No, you should have it painted on the bottle. I am Arthur Knight. You can't walk.
Your oxygen mask is not connected. Too much oxygen going into your mask.
I am trying to without an abuser. Would all of you like to see a video of this woman, Jane McSorley, assaulting and abusing me in my own home in front of Craig Johnson? I need oxygen. I can't breathe. No, I'm not on any oxygen.
Someone, can you move your arm, please, so I can get to it?
This woman assaulted me in my own home. I have a video which I will provide for your.
Yeah, she must have money. His wife must have money.
You did, and you insinuated that I was unfaithful to my wife with you. You insinuated that I was unfaithful to my wife with you.
Come on, then, let's get in
That I was unfaithful to my wife with you, and it's all on video and audio recording. It's all on video and audio recording.
What's that, the court?
The text messages with my wife, and you're not going to get away with
The coach wins, and then we go. Stop, the coach wins for you. Mr. Rossi.
Look at this fucking guy. Look how fast his chair goes, too. It's like... Bro, he was like, this is it. I got it. So we're going to hide my identity. All right, so how can we do it? Well, I want to hide my face. Okay, let's get the biggest oxygen bottle and mask that I can wear to cover my face. Okay, so the biggest bottle. So what happens if people chase me? Well, I need the fastest wheelchair that I can get. Look how fast that guy's wheelchair goes. That's so he can fucking run away. He can get away quick. And then he's like, I'll gain like 150 pounds. Exactly. He's still talking like this. What a circus. What an absolute circus. Oh boy. All right. Oh, I think this is the same. This is from the same clip, but we'll watch this. You can hear him a little bit better. These are all the times I think he's falling.
I'm not Mr. Rossi at all.
I'm off the line.
I said the game is afoot. It's already started.
This is the extraordinary story of Nicholas Rossi, a fugitive who American prosecutors say faked his own death and fled to Scotland. It began when he was spotted and arrested in a Glasgow hospital while being treated for COVID. He claimed he was Arthur Knight, an Irish orphan, but a Scottish judge has ruled he is Nicholas Rossi.
This is 12 News Now.
Rossi's case made international headlines.
Authorities say a Rhode Island man faked his own death and then hid out in Scotland.
A story so bizarre it felt like a film script.
I love his falls.
Your oxygen mask is not connected.
So I have to hold his full weight. Do you see?
Oh my God.
He protested he was the victim of mistaken identity.
I can't make it any clearer, Stephen. I am Arthur Knight.
He claimed he'd never been to America, but across the Atlantic were people who saw through the performance.
And you were always absolutely certain it was him. 100% I was the whistleblower. I've known Nick 22 years. I know him better than anybody.
I gotta get
In
that
Rhode
guy
Island,
on the show.
people knew Rossi as Nick Alaverdian, a child welfare campaigner. Politicians
Brian
even paid
Coogan.
tribute
I gotta
to
call
him
that guy.
when they were
I gotta
told
get
he
him on the
died.
show.
To join in the memory of my friend, I guess some of the people may know him also, Nicholas Alaverdian.
I'm gonna reach out to him. Brian Coogan. Is it Coogan? Or what was it? Coogan? Former representative. Let's see. What was that name?
They were told he died.
To join in the memory of my friend, I guess some of the people may know him also, Nicholas.
Atlantic were people who saw through the performance.
And you were always absolutely certain it was him. 100%
I gotta
was
reach
the
out to this guy.
whistleblower.
Get
I've
him on
known
the
Nick
show.
22 years. I know him better than anybody.
In Rhode Island, people knew Rossi as Nick Alaverdian, a child welfare
AK.
campaigner.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to
Politicians
him.
even paid tribute to him when they were told he died.
To join in the memory of my friend, I guess some of the people may know him also, Nicholas Alaverdian, who had a battle with cancer.
An obituary that appeared online claimed Nicholas Alaverdian had been cremated and his ashes scattered at sea. His final words, "Fear not, and run towards the bliss of the sun." In reality, Rossi was a convicted sex offender who'd fled to the UK and morphed into Arthur Knight before COVID stopped him in his tracks.
Once we determined that he was in a Scottish hospital, we were able to confirm through photographic confirmation and DNA that we had our man, so to speak.
Then later on, I find out Nick is alive. It's in Glasgow. Is that right? I said, I don't believe it. I was like, wow.
He was arrested after hospital staff recognised him from an Interpol wanted notice. He said he was framed, even claiming that he was given identical tattoos to Rossi as he lay unconscious on the COVID ward. We heard in court, though, that you were identified by tattoos.
Is it worth seeing your left forearm?
I just showed you a photo of it.
Yeah, but could I mean, could you just raise
Honestly,
up?
I'm exhausted and
Also, just looking at the oxygen, we're getting a little bit low as well.
There was one picture I saw. He's in red silky pajamas. Those were the same pajamas he wore when I was with him.
You think those were the exact same?
I don't think I know those were the exact same pieces.
Excuse me.
Slowly, the Arthur Knight charade has been unpicked. Nicholas Rossi faces serious allegations in the United States.
Unreal. Oh my God. All right, let's go here. So now we're going to talk about the being extradited back to the U.S. So he is extradited back to the U.S. And he is currently, I believe, in a Utah jail, still saying that he is claiming that he is Arthur Knight and not Nicholas Rossi. Here we go.
He left Scotland brings to an end a bizarre two-year saga here that began with an arrest in a Glasgow
Look at this dude.
hospital and
love
repeated
this.
claims of
It's so
mistaken
cringy.
identity.
Sharon, we're sitting having a conversation. I've never been dead to anyone. I do not prefer to be called Arthur Knight. I am Arthur Knight.
While out on bail and sitting beside his wife, the man arrested as a COVID patient repeatedly insisted he is an Irish orphan, an ill man caught up in a conspiracy.
This is a vicious lie. How can I be a flight risk if I can't even stand?
Months of drama, denials and delays followed, with Rossi attending court throughout in a wheelchair, despite a prison doctor's evidence that she could find no medical reason for it.
Court eyes.
After a sheriff ruled on Nicholas Rossi's identity, the Justice Secretary signed an extradition order last September. The American appealed. He even represented himself, making claims that he would not receive a fair trial in the US because he was investigating those seeking to extradite him. Judges dismissed these arguments, agreeing with the previous sheriff that the case was straightforward and there is nothing to stop Rossi being put back on a plane to the United States.
We're pretty pleased with what happened with the courts in Scotland, that he's going to be brought back here, mainly because the alleged victim in this case will have an opportunity to be heard and for justice to be done.
Nicholas Rossi is
That's the thing too. I want to make sure that we understand this. I know this is like cringy and it's laughable, but we keep in mind there are victims in here, and this guy did sexually assault a couple of people. So, this is serious, but I think we're showing the ridiculousness of this idiot. But what a story! What a story!
Believed to have used multiple aliases. His DNA and fingerprints were added to a national database after he was convicted of assaulting a woman in Ohio in 2008. These key pieces of forensic evidence would later link him to a Utah rape case, leading to an international manhunt. In his home state of Rhode Island, the 36-year-old is also known by his birth name, Nicholas Alaverdian. By the time this elaborate obituary was posted in 2020, it's believed Nicholas was already living in the UK, leaving behind him a string of criminal allegations and debts. Distinctive tattoos helped to identify this fugitive in Glasgow. These are the pictures from an Interpol notice shown to nurses before his arrest in December 2021. Rossi later claimed he had woken up from a coma to find his arms had been tattooed.
I knew this day would come. I didn't think it would take as long as
I got to
it
get a
did.
hold of this guy.
But the long arm of the law, the old saying, will get you, because this is really about the victims, everything he's done to them. So I'm glad you're on your way back, Nick. I can't wait. I may fly out to Dayton, Ohio, Utah, wherever you're going to go, and watch your trial.
Spinning a story with so many twists and turns, Nicholas Rossi has found himself the subject of numerous podcasts and documentaries. It's now over to the American courts for the next chapter. Sharon Frew, STV News.
All right, let's watch that hearing. This is back just a couple of weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, January 16, 2024. He appears in a Utah court. Here we go.
Number 36, State versus Rossi. 6768.
Look at this
Are
guy
you
up here.
Mr. Rossi? Are you Mr. Rossi?
You
might have to take that off just to talk so she
can
can
hear
hear.
Is that a yes?
Calling her me lady.
I'm having a hard time.
My name is Alton. Not you, Greg.
I think I'm going to have the jail restate what he said. Having a really hard time hearing him.
What is it?
My name is Alton. Right.
He says his name is Arthur Knight. Brown?
Arthur Knight Brown.
I can't hear. You want to have him state his name and date of birth?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we can't hear him at all. Can you ask him, can you please state your name and date of birth?
Get a little closer.
Lady, my name is Arthur Knight Brown. My date of birth is 22nd of the 11th, 1986.
1996. She's like,
Okay, I don't.
I think we're having a problem with understanding who this person is.
I don't. This is not number 36.
Your Honor, we've got him as Nicholas Rossi, but he's saying his name is Arthur Knight Brown.
Oh, that's one of the AKAs. It looks like.
What's your birthday?
We're having a really.
This is where the judge needs to turn around and say, you know what? I'm not believing any of your bullshit. So we're pushing forward with this case. What is this whole confusion? Oh, I can't figure it out. Listen, we know the guy's a fucking scammer. We know that. What are you doing? Oh, we're having a hard time figuring out who this is. It's really not that hard. They have DNA that links him. They have tattoos that linked him to his identity. What is so hard about this? She needs to push forward and say, all right, I don't believe any of your bullshit. You're using aliases that we know that are on record that you've used these aliases. We're pushing forward with this case. Holy smokes.
Is it July 11th, 1987?
No, lady, it's 22nd of November, 1986.
22nd of November, 1986.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, Tamara Vasquez for the state. This individual has been extradited, and he has not admitted his name or birth date accurately, and so I don't think we're going to be successful on that today either. It's also known as.
Objection, my lady. That is complete hearsay, and I would ask your ladyship that the prosecution show cause for why they proceeded to allow.
Mr. Knight, I'm going.
Whilst I had an appeal pending in the Supreme Court.
Mr. Knight, I'm going to appoint a lawyer for you.
He's growing his beard super
There's
long
a
now.
no bail warrant in this case, so we're going to set it for a detention hearing in 10 days. And I'm also ordering that you not have any contact.
And if we can have the alleged victim's name protected.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, how was he supposed to know who not to have any contact with?
We're going to have to get the no contact order form given to him personally.
Okay. All right. So I am ordering that you not have any contact with the person who's going to remain confidential until you get a copy of the no contact order. So hopefully that makes sense. And when you get the order, you can see who it is. I'm also ordering that you be given a copy of your charge. It is a first-degree felony from November 1st, 2008.
Yes.
From November 1st, 2008. So you'll get a copy of that. Your next hearing will be in front of Judge Lawrence. January 26th. 1 o'clock, Judge Lawrence, and that will be a detention hearing.
Your Honor, before we go, would the court ask the bailiff if defendant has been fingerprinted and photographed as part of being booked under this OTN number?
I'm not sure, but if the court will send notification to our records department, they can follow up and make sure it's been done.
Okay. I will make that order.
My lady,
I am ordering that he be fingerprinted and photographed.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Knight, we're finished.
I have an attorney, Lance Bastian. Lance Bastian.
Okay, well, your attorney can show up at the next hearing, and then we'll vacate the appointment of a legal defender.
We haven't been notified of any hearing.
Cuts him off.
Well, Judge, we'll give him the information. He can relay it to his attorney about the next hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Bye.
I just cut him off. Let's see. I wanted to read this. This is the latest. This was on February 7th. A man extradited from Scotland continues to claim he's not the person charged in 2 Utah rape cases. Nicholas Rossi has appeared in court on Tuesday after missing 2 prior court dates with no explanation. Provo, Utah, a man accused of faking his own death and fleeing the U.S. to avoid rape charges continues to deny that he's the man identified in the case during an online court appearance from jail on Tuesday. Nicholas Rossi, 36, made an appearance after missing 2 January court dates with no explanation. After Utah 4th District Judge Derek Pullman in Provo cleared jail officials to use reasonable force to get him to show, Rossi made his initial appearance seated behind a green gas tank and wearing an oxygen mask. Pullman asked Rossi if he had received the charging document accusing him of raping a 21-year-old woman in Orem, Utah in 2008. I am not Nicholas. Here we go. I got to do it in the voice, though. Quote, I am not Nicholas Rossi, for the record, he responded with a raspy voice with a British accent, but I have received the document. Rossi, whose legal name is Nicholas Alaverdian, has used several aliases and said he was an Irish orphan named Arthur Knight who never set foot on American soil. He has not elaborated he did not elaborate on his identity on Tuesday, and Poland did not ask before setting his next court appearance for March 5th. Rossi made similar claims in court in a court hearing in January. He was extradited to the U.S. from Scotland earlier this month. Rossi was not identified as a suspect in the Orem rape for about a decade due to a backlog of DNA test kits in the Utah State Crime Lab. It took almost a decade for this guy to be identified. Holy shit. He was allowed to roam for 10 years without being identified in that case. Holy shit. He also faces a felony charge in Salt Lake County, where prosecutors allege he raped a 26-year-old former girlfriend after an argument, also in 2008. He faces multiple other complaints against him in Rhode Island and Ohio for alleged domestic violence, sexual abuse, and fraud. The American fugitive grew up in a foster home in Rhode Island and had returned to the state before allegedly faking his death and fleeing from the country. His obituary published online claims Rossi died on February 29, 2020 at the late stage non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Authorities and his former foster family doubt his death. Rossi was arrested in Scotland in 2021 after being recognized at a Glasgow hospital during his treatment for COVID-19. He lost his extradition appeal in the country in December. Wow. So March 5th is his next court date. And what a circus, right? Here's something here from Brian Coogan. I'm going to try to reach out to this guy and see if I can get him on the show. So it says here, Brian Coogan once tried to adopt Nicholas Alaverdian. Now he's confronting him here on TV. Let's play this clip right here.
How you doing, Nick? I can't really hear what he's saying. He says that he knows you. Nick, I'm the one that's Irish. You're not. Coogan, I'm Irish. You're not. You get that scar on your eye. If you have him move his glasses, you can see he has a little scar on the side of his eye.
I got to get this guy on the show.
Do you see that, James? James, do you see the scar? He's a man who knew Nicholas Rossi. Is Nicholas Alaverdian. Nick, show him the two tattoos on your arm, each arm.
I love this. He says, I don't have any tattoos.
Tell him he's mistaken. This is a man who says that you are Nicholas Alaverdian. Who knew Nicholas Alaverdian for 21 years. Do you know this person? This Brian Coogan. Do you know Brian Coogan?
Thank you, John.
I can't hear what he's saying, James. Mr. Coogan. Yes. He's saying that he doesn't know you. He doesn't recognize you. Listen, Nick, we didn't give birth to you, but we were going to adopt you. I know who Nicholas Alaverdian is, and that's you. And I'm going to be flying out to Scotland to prove it. How's that? I'm gonna testify that that's you. That scar on your eye. James, do you see a scar on his eye? He does have a scar on his eye. Yeah, that's Nicholas Alaverdian. I'll tell you what, we can wrap this up, James. We can wrap it up right now. Look at his two biceps. He has a barcode on one and a bird feather on the other, or wing. Is he willing to show you his arms? Is that something you would do? Show us your arms. Your biceps. He's trying to say, you're trying to say he showed you his arms. His biceps. Look at his biceps.
This is great. I got to get this guy on the show.
And I'll go away now. Go ahead. Thanks, Mr. Thank you. That's it.
That's
Bye,
it.
Nick.
I gotta get this guy on the show. He's laughing.
How are you?
I gotta get this. If Mr. Coogan, if you're watching this, you gotta come on the show.
He got all frantic. He got all paranoid. Get all nervous. So he's obviously lying. The scar on his eye is there, and the tattoos he don't want to show. He tried to say, "Look, I got no tattoos on my arm," but she's going, "Yeah."
I gotta get this guy on.
He didn't want to show his biceps. That's Nicholas Alaverdian.
Shit, that's great. Yeah, if Mr. Coogan, if you're watching this, if you see this video, please reach out to me. Let's talk live podcast at gmail.com. But I'm definitely going to try to track you down and see if I can get you on for a spot and have you come over and talk to us about Nicholas Alaverdian. We'd love to hear about his background, how he faked his death, and this whole identity crisis fiasco. You seem to really know him very well, so I'd love to hear from you. And if anybody knows Brian Coogan, please have him reach out to me or get me some contact information where I can reach out to him. I want to get this guy on the show. Courtney, can you get him in touch with me? Please have him reach out to me. I'd love to get him on my show and have him talk to us about Nicholas Alaverdian. I think it would be great to get him over here. Please have him reach out to me. I'll put my email address. Or if you can get me in contact with him, just reach out to me and I can pass you a phone number and he can reach out. I'd love to get him on the show because I think this will pull a lot of people in. We got to know more about this Nicholas Alaverdian. So I really do appreciate that. Yeah, it's the great thing about this, man. When we do shows like this, a lot of people know the people that we. Oh, awesome! Thank you, Courtney. Yeah. Let's get Mr. Coogan on the show. I got to get him on the show. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. So, again, I wanted to open everybody's eyes to Nicholas Rossi, a.k.a. Alaverdian, a.k.a. Arthur Knight. Definitely a case that I want to continue. I mean, probably is going to go down, like I said, the very beginning of the stream, probably go down as the most cringiest person I've ever come across in my entire life. But we'll keep an eye on this. And if I can get Brian on the show, it'd be really great because he seems to know Nicholas really well. And I'd love to hear his backstory of how he came in contact with Nicholas and, you know, all this huge fiasco that's going on. So, yeah, really great show. I appreciate that everybody came over and they caught interest in this story. I'm going to wrap this one up. It's about 9:30 here on a Saturday night. And we will continue. I will be back and continue this story. I can't wait to get more into this. So thank you all for being here. Everybody have a lovely Saturday night for the rest of your Saturday night, and I will see you all soon. Oh, by the way, I got a new little outro song for everybody. Check this one out. All right, everybody have a good night. I'll talk to you all soon. And Courtney, like I said, please get Brian in touch with me, or if you can reach out to me, I'll give you a phone number. You can call me, but I'd love to get him on the show. All right, everybody have a great night. Talk to you soon. Bye.
LTL, true crime, we go deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden marks. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL, true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the prime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL, true crime, unveiling dark realities every time.
Yeah, LTL, true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden march. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting in the minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL, true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the prime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL, true crime, unveiling dark realities every time.
LTL, true crime, we go deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden marks. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL, true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the prime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL, true crime, unveiling dark realities every time.
Yeah, LTL, true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL, true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the prime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL, true crime.